guest who came to Collinwood in the guise of a proper English gentleman has been revealed as the notorious Count Potoffi. Once unmasked, he is gone, leaving behind him a prediction and a promise. The prediction is that one by one, the inhabitants of Collinwood will face the truth about themselves. The premise is that, though he is gone, he will be there to see it.
Well, isn't it a little early for drinking?
Not after what's happened here today. Here, you'll need one too.
I'll make my own decision about that, thank you. All right, Quentin. What has happened this time?
Something terrible's happened to Jameson.
What's wrong? Is the boy ill?
Not physically.
Then what's the matter?
He's been possessed.
Possessed?
Well, that's the only explanation I have for the peculiar events that have happened here.
What are you talking about?
I'm telling you. Jameson has been possessed by Count Potoffi. A dangerous murderer, a man who before he left here wished us all nothing but evil.
I see. And he has possessed the boy?
Yes.
What has stimulated your mind and stirred your fears up again, Quentin? Is it a drink? Opium, what?
I'm telling you, Edward. Mr. Fengibbons is not what he seems. He's a threat to all of us Cullens. He predicted that each of us will learn the truth about ourselves. And one by one, we will all be destroyed by that truth.
Well, you seem to be doing a very good job of destroying yourself without Mr. Fengibbons'
Are
help.
you going to listen to me?
No, I am not. I'm tired, and I have too many real problems to contend with, without having to put up with phantoms that you're conjuring up.
He's not a phantom. He's real, and he's dangerous, particularly to your son.
No, Quentin. In your present condition, you are far more dangerous to my son than Mr. Fengibbons could ever be. And if you dare say any of this nonsense that you've got in your mind to him, you'll have to deal with me.
Will you listen to me?
No, I will not. Subject is closed.
Good morning, Mr. Collins.
Jameson. I didn't see you come in. Where have you been?
Walking around the grounds. I find your Maine weather most stimulating this time of year. Mr. Collins, you look a little pale. Perhaps you ought to get out. Some of the weather that I find perfectly marvelous. Brisk and stimulating. There seems to be a sense of discovery out of doors. Particularly about you.
Jameson, I don't understand what you're talking about.
But you will. Before this day is through, you will know many things that you know not now, including the truth about yourself.
Edward, I told you...
Be quiet. Jameson.
May I have a brandy?
Jameson! Now listen to me. You're going to stop this little game you're playing.
I don't understand.
Well, I understand only too well. A game that you and your uncle have set up to annoy me. Well, I'm not in the mood to play with you. This is not the time for it.
He's not playing, Edward. He's been possessed.
Stop saying that.
Stop closing your mind. There's something drastically wrong with the boy.
If there is anything wrong, it's because you and your kind have brought it here.
Let's not argue about that. Let's take care of the boy before it's too late.
Yes, it is getting a little late. Perhaps you gentlemen will excuse me while I go upstairs and rest before dinner.
No, you stay right here.
I beg your pardon.
I said stay here. Jameson, I didn't mean to sound harsh. I've had a very difficult day.
Yes. And before it's through, it will be more and more difficult. Now, as long as you've insisted on my staying, may I please have a brandy?
No, of course not.
Mr. Collins, I find your hospitality less than overwhelming.
Edward, you got to do something.
I intend to. $641, please. Dr. Brooks, Edward Collins here. Could you come out here? Well, I'm very worried about Jameson. I would rather not discuss it over the telephone. Just come as quickly as you can. Thank you. Just what do you think you're doing?
Mineral water for the digestion.
You rang, Mr. Edward?
Yes, Beth. Jameson is feeling rather poorly. I want you to take him up to his room and stay with him.
Yes, Mr. Edward.
Under no circumstances are you to leave him alone. Do you understand?
Certainly. Come, we'll go upstairs now.
Yes, I believe that would be most pleasurable before dinner. If you'll excuse me, gentlemen.
Listen, you've got to realize that a doctor's not going to do any good.
And you've got to realize that Jameson is my son. My son, Quentin. And your meddling in his life is something that you've got to stop immediately.
And what about your meddling? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you did to Jenny.
What I did to Jenny was not meddling. I was looking after her.
Oh.
Someone had to.
Oh, you were looking after her, all right. You turned her into a crazy woman.
No, Quentin, you turned her into a crazy woman. I tried to keep her from hurting herself and others.
Oh, I see. Well, somehow I had the feeling that you were preventing damage to the great Collins name, the holy, sanctified Collins name.
I had to look after her because you didn't care for her.
Oh, didn't I? Now, just how do you know that?
A man doesn't leave his wife when he cares for her.
Oh, you have all the answers, Edward, all the proper Collins answers. Well, answer me this question. What about my children?
Your children?
What about my children, Edward? Why didn't you tell me about them? Or didn't you think I cared about them either? Well, I did care about the children. I cared a great deal. I discovered how much yesterday when I found that my son was dead.
What?
Dead, Edward. My son is dead.
I'm sorry.
Are you?
Of course I'm sorry.
I don't think you are. After all, my children, they're only half Collins. What did you think when you learned that they were also half gypsy?
I said I'm sorry that the boy is dead. Why can't you let it go at that?
Because I won't! You and your sense of family, your demands that things always be exactly right. Well, what did you think when you looked at that little boy with gypsy eyes and the Collins name?
Quentin, will you leave me alone? I never even saw the boy after he left this house.
Oh, I see. But I should have realized. Why should you see him? Why should you have cared that he might have perhaps needed you?
That accusation's rather startling. I merely saw to it that he was provided for.
Oh, you saw to everything. Most of all, you saw to the Collins name. Edward, all your life you've been seeing for the Collins name. And if anyone failed to live up to it, Jenny, my children, Judith, no matter who, you are the judge and jury. And you see to it that they are banished before the world finds out the truth. Well, Edward, you call your doctor if you think that's right. And you listen to what he tells you. You listen carefully. Because it may be time for your own son's banishment.
Why don't you take your gloves off, Jameson?
There's a very good reason why I can't take my gloves off. Just as there's a very good reason that you're so distracted.
Distracted?
Yes. I don't feel that you have your mind on the game, but somewhere else. On someone. Someone who fills your every thought. Someone whose commands you wait for.
Jameson, I don't understand you. Maybe I should call your father.
My father. My father's not here. That's a peacock, a vain and a little man. Name proud.
Jameson, be quiet. Yes, I should go call him right now.
No. Please. Please don't, Beth.
Jameson, it's for your own good.
Everyone always says for my own good. But they don't know. They never ask me. They don't care what I want or how I feel.
What do you want, Jameson?
I want people to like me.
And to be noticed. I suppose we do get caught up in our own lives and forget you until you start pretending and frighten us.
I'm not pretending now, Beth. I really like you.
And I like you.
Is there something you'd like to do, Beth?
Maybe you should lie down and nap.
And while I nap, where will you be, Beth? Out there. Out there with him. Go to the window, Beth. See if he's calling you. Go, Beth, go.
Come in.
Well, how is the boy?
He's all right.
Is he running any fever?
I don't know.
Well, take it immediately. Yes, he is warm. I don't think that window should be open, do you?
It was very warm in here a moment ago.
Well, it isn't now.
No!
Beth! What in the world is the matter with you?
Why don't you tell him, Beth?
I am waiting for my master to call me.
Your master?
Barnabas Collins.
Barnabas Collins. Oh, no. Jameson, would you go downstairs and wait for me? I'll be there in just a moment. I have to talk with Beth. All right. What is the meaning of this? You had better tell me what it is.
evil, evil spirit, possessor of that which is not thine to possess, depart and leave the boy in innocence. Depart, I say. Depart!
And I say, as soon as you're finished with all the mumbo-jumbo, would you hand me a glass of mineral water?
Jameson, now listen, I'm going to try the incantation again. Now please, try to make your mind as pliant as possible.
Quentin! You are not to do anything to that boy. I have already warned you about that. Jameson, go upstairs.
Edward, I tell you, the doctor cannot do any good in this case. Now, if I can reach Count Potoffi's spirit, the boy may at least have a chance.
No. Not a chance in the world. I want you to leave that boy alone. I'm serious.
Oh, I see. You're going to shoot me the next time I attempt to talk with Jameson, is that it?
If I did, do you think I would need 6 silver bullets?
Edward, put that gun away.
What's wrong, Quentin? Are you afraid that I have suddenly decided that you're not worth the family name? You're not, of course.
No. I'm afraid you're losing your mind. What are you going to do with that gun?
Believe me, I have business with it.
What is it?
I thought, Quentin, that you and I had decided that things would work better if I looked after my interest and you looked after yours.
Yes, but I don't understand what interest you're going to look after with that gun.
I am preparing for the moment when Barnabas Collins will be destroyed. But I don't like his victims too near the house. And Beth Chavez is a little too near.
Beth?
He has her in his thrall.
No, it's not so.
She told me herself.
I don't believe you.
Well, then go and ask her. Well, I'm surprised that you don't know what's been happening. Perhaps you've been too busy minding my business.
Beth! 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 I've got to talk to you. Now let me in. I know you're in there. Now, Beth, I know what's happened. Now, don't try to deny it.
I'm not denying anything, Quentin.
But just tell me how you could do it. How you could say you love me and at the same time be going to him. Look at me. Look at me. You know how much I need you?
I must go to him.
No, no more.
You fool! Didn't you see the state that girl was in? She needed to be locked up. But you, who are supposed to love her, you let her out.
I had to speak to her.
What did you have to find out, Quentin? That it's possible for a woman to love some man other than you? You don't get that very often, do you?
I've got business with Barnabas.
Barnabas,
Who is it?
it's Beth.
What do you want?
I had to come to you.
Why? Why did you come here?
I had to see you. Barnabas, please don't turn away from me. I beg you.
Leave her alone.
Quentin, what are you doing here?
What is she doing here?
I don't know.
Don't you? I don't believe that.
I'm afraid you'll have to.
She admitted to me that...
She and I were closer than you knew. Well, it's true. It was true. But it is true no longer. I know what I am, Quentin. I know what I need. I despise all of it. And I despise myself more knowing what she meant to you.
Then why did she come to you tonight, Barnabas?
I don't know. I didn't call her.
Well, Dr. Brooks says that you're fine, just fine.
Does he?
Yes, I think we were just all a little overexcited, that's all, but everything's going to be all right.
He's not a very good doctor. He examined me for nearly an hour. Didn't notice that I only had one hand.
Oh, Jameson, please. The doctor says you're all right. Well, of course you have a hand. There it is, see?
No, I have no hand.
Now, listen, that's nonsense. Why don't you take your gloves off?
No!
Go on, take them off.
No, I won't!
Are you going to make me use force?
Oh, I told you! No hand! I told you no hand!
What's happened?
No, I'm frightened. I'm afraid.
No, don't be frightened. Please, Jameson, I'm here. Everything's going to be all right. I'll take care of you. Don't be scared. I'm here. I'll look after you.
Oh, I love you, Father.
Edward, what are you doing in here? What's the matter with you?
Sir, I'm a stranger in these parts. But certainly, in a great house like this, there's something for an honest man to do. Especially one who's willing to do anything. Oh, it's a lovely house. What's it called?